Welcome everybody to another edition of Horror Movie News. Today this past week we had the trailer for The Nun drop, as well as we got a new look at the new suit of a Predator, which is one of three different looks for it. And also Jordan Peele wants to create a certain movie for The House the Mouse. He wants to create a certain movie for Disney, so stick around to find out what that movie is. And I just got one question for you all. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? It's Horror Movie News!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos.
I like your little...
Psychos or create...
Oh, thank you. Save. Perfect timing right there.
Never gets old.
Right? So empowering.
Yes.
Welcome everyone
Pump you up.
Welcome everyone to Horror Movie News. I'm your host, Anthony Becerra, and to my left I have.
Hey, how's it going? Carrie Lane here.
Hey guys, I'm Oliver Drennan.
And right on. So let's we got a lot of stuff to cover, so let's get right into it. So where to find us? So pretty much at youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. If you are tuning in live, that's where you find us. That's where you chat with us. We got Carrie on the chat, right?
Yep.
All right, and so go ahead, chat away, and we'll bring you up here and there. Also, we have a Twitter page. Follow us at HorrorNewsPTN if you like Twitter and you're into that. And, or of course, our actual websites, thepopcorntalknetwork.com. And last but not least, we have the Apple Podcast. If you guys listen to podcasts on iPhones and whatnot, so that's the best way to reach us at Horror Movie News. Just type that in, look for this little thumbnail in the background, and you'll find it. And please leave a 5-star rating and tell us anything really. Also, all the other stars don't work. Apparently you get hexed if you try to go lower than 5 stars.
Don't want to mess with that then.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Oh, you know what's good. You know what that means, people. Whew.
Run for your life.
And with
very quietly.
right on the sand. And with that, let's get into our first segment. Let's start it off with The Abyss. So pretty much what films we've been watching. Have you guys watched anything? I didn't ask you guys.
No.
I'll take it away then. All right,
Yeah,
so
it's one of those. It's been a busy week.
keeping this segment alive here. The one and only.
I went to my library though to look for a bunch of horror movies, and they weren't there. So I'm like, fine, I guess I'm gonna actually use Hulu and Amazon or Netflix, which, you know, lots
is
to
much
choose
more
from.
convenient than
It
leaving your
is.
house and going to a
But
library.
I was there anyways, and I got Attack on Titan, the next set of
very
manga,
nice.
which
That's
that's
horror?
horror.
That's
I
horror?
haven't read them yet, but I got
Allowed.
those. They actually put them in a separate section because it's not in the young adult section because it's too violent. So it's like, yes.
Right on. All right, let's toss in some anime horror up in here. Yeah, so that's a great series. I really appreciate it. I really like the first season. Also the way that like the giants move, they're like it's so uncanny. Like that part. Every time I see him run towards them, it's disturbing. It's uncanny. Ugh, it gives me the creeps.
If you haven't read the manga, I do highly recommend it because the manga and the anime are actually very similar, but sometimes where a scene ends, the manga has a little bit more, which is kind of cool. Like, oh, cool, this is what happened after so-and-so left.
Exactly.
Which is, it's one of those maybe watch then read or vice versa,
Yeah.
and maybe not right after because you'd be like, I know exactly what's happening.
I'm so
For sure.
behind. I'm so behind in
I know,
the Attack on Titan.
Well, season 3 is coming out and is premiering at Anime Expo, so that's a news thing.
Right on.
Yes.
So I happened to watch The Witch this morning. It came out in 2015. It was one of the films that's kind of like part of this. I would say like a renaissance of like, you know, these art house horror films. I believe it was The Babadook that came out in 2014, which really like started. That's when kind of like you start seeing more. But yeah, I found this. You can actually watch this on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it and stream it right then and there. It was written and directed by Robert Eggers, and this was like his first feature-length film. And it was and it was released from A24 as well. And yeah, there you go. There's Black Phillip right there on the cover. Synopsis is: a family in 1630s in New England is torn apart by the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. And it stars Anna Taylor-Joy, which I feel like is becoming a modern day like horror icon. Really,
Absolutely.
I mean, she's been in Marrowbone, which is a gothic drama horror film, which I still need to watch. I need to rent that on Amazon. You can rent that on Amazon, by the way. Split, which I believe might be on Amazon Prime as well, which was James James McAvoy and Anna Taylor-Joy, and that's
Splice. I'm like, nope.
no, that's Adrian Brody banging
Yeah.
a alien creature.
thing, yes.
Yeah.
She's been in Morgan too. Have you seen Morgan?
And Morgan, yeah, which is it's like a sci-fi thriller sort of because she's an AI, right? She
Yeah.
plays an
Yeah.
AI in that, yeah. Which I want to see too, because like I'm becoming
It's
more
a
of
good
a fan.
watch. I recommend it.
Yeah, she's also when it eventually released New Mutants,
Yes.
which is our first horror like superhero
Super
Marvel
excited.
film coming from Fox, which I really appreciate. And well, I guess not our first, but I guess I don't know, Blade. I forgot who did Blade, but anyways, first one in a long time. And also Glass. She's coming out in Glass, which is the part of the third installment of the I guess the Unbreakable trilogy that it is now. Yeah, and also stars Ralph Ineson and Kate Dickie as a mother and father. Overall, I've only seen it twice. This is my second time. I believe I saw it first time in theaters, but it still holds up for me. I mean, I still really enjoy it. It's not like super scary, but it's a very cool story it tells. Very interesting how things go down, how things happen. You're not sure if like, wait, did that really just happen? And it's like, no, yeah. That happened, and you're like, okay, well, life goes on.
Was
All
it
right.
any scarier, or how less scary was it? And then did you notice anything differently seeing it again?
I noticed that it relies more on tone and also dropping little like seeds with the dialogues of characters. It's very like dialogue heavy, and so you really have to listen for like those certain words that are dropped where you're just like, oh, okay, so this is because she said this is gonna like entail create this like little storyline pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's definitely worth a watch.
It's really good. Even just like the opening, which I don't want to spoil it, but it really just like kind of slaps you in the face. It's like, oh wow, that just happened. Did this really happen? Is this really actually? Like, are there witches? And there's like even like this. It's just a film that I don't want to spoil it for you, but because I definitely recommend you watching it.
I think it's on Netflix right now because I think it's on my queue. It's on one of the.
I know
streaming
Prime
services.
has it for sure.
Okay, then maybe it's on that queue.
But yeah, it's just kind of like it really makes you think and theorize. Did this really happen? Are there really witches, or is it all in their head?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of interpreted it as.
All right, moving on. Let's head into the crypt. So this segment is pretty much films that we would like to recommend to everyone here at the panel and also whoever's watching. So yeah, so I'm going like really, really back. This film was released in it's released in 1920, and
Nice.
one of the reasons I wanted to bring it is it's called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's also found on Amazon Prime right now.
Nice.
It's been featured in almost every like I read a lot of horror history books and especially a horror history film like for film, and this is one of the like earliest horror films that it's always mentioned. This is like usually number 1 or 2 is like here The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Like you have to watch this. Kind of like it's kind of like a like hey, you're into horror, we'll watch this thing. And it's definitely a seminal classic. Synopsis is a hypnotist. Dr. Caligari uses a symbolist, Cesare, to commit murders, and pretty much it's a German film. It's in black and white. It's a silent film, but the visuals are still very beautiful. Like the sets, they painted the shadows on the sets because they didn't have enough. I believe it was they couldn't use the lighting. Or they didn't have enough power to really like use it. There's like a whole
Nice
story
zoom in
behind it. I
there.
forgot about it. But yeah, what was
During
that?
the last 13 nerve-shattering minutes.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, so those listening, there's a sign on the poster. No one permitted out or in during the last 13 nerve-shattering minutes.
That's hilarious.
That's very funny.
Yeah. And yeah, it also has a pretty good story, and it's one of the earliest like horror films made, and the set design is like incredible. Just watching it, just looking at it is really mesmerizing.
I was gonna say a couple of years ago in North Hollywood they actually did a play of it.
Oh, cool.
And like painted sets and everything.
That'd be-
It was really cool.
Yeah, if you could find the play of that, you should definitely go check it out. So some like little cons, I guess, if you're like more new age and you're not really into it, like it is in black and white. It is a silent film. If you're laying down, you might fall asleep. Like I've fallen asleep so many times during Metropolis, and I finally was able to finish that movie. It's so
slow.
long.
It's slow paced.
But anyway, that's another movie. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Especially if you're an active watcher. If you're like you have to really be sitting down up straight. And it's part of horror film history. You should definitely check it out if you didn't know about it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you can find like one of those black and white pictures, that'd be great. But yeah, it's up there with like Nosferatu, Haxan, and like the Golem is another one that I would recommend. Those are, you got to be patient with these. Like these are older films, so the pacing is a lot slower with them.
Yeah. Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because so much horror movies today are kind of like taking route of the slow burn. So it's like it shouldn't even be that bad to like watch these older films, because so much today is like we see the slow burn. So it shouldn't be that big of a problem.
Right. Unless you don't like reading or something.
Unless you're just into slashers, just like everyone just hacking and slashing. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God that era was done. I'm tired of that shit. All right, you guys have anything?
Yeah, well, it's a show, but since it's all out, you can binge watch it. And I think I might have mentioned it before, but I was talking to someone the other day about it, and since it's like summer, pretty much, Dead of Summer. It was a freeform show. It was actually really good. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Yeah, it's one of those I feel really went under the radar with a lot of people. It came out 2 years ago. It is in 1989. School is out for the summer. When Camp Stillwater's dark, ancient mythology awakens, what was supposed to be a summer of fun soon turns into one of unforgettable scares and evil at every turn. And they have some pretty big name actors in it too. There's Elizabeth Mitchell. Oh yeah, the logo. That
cool
totally
picture.
got my attention. So if you're listening, it's just legs hanging out of a tire swing at a lake. And then we also had Alberto Frieza come into the show. And when we did the after show here, I was looking for it. Tony Todd, the Candyman, is in it too.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because it kind of has a little bit of slasher, a little bit of ghost, a little bit mystery, and it's set in the 80s, so a little bit like time period vibe. And yeah, it's just like something happened a while ago, and now these kids are back at summer camp, and the payoff at the end is actually really good too, because it's not one of those like, oh, how'd you wrap it up? It's actually really, the overall, I think, turns out really well. And these kids are all really fun and enjoyable to watch.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this show.
Yeah, me
Yeah, I feel it totally went under people's radars.
Has it only been one season, or
They only had
2?
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
They didn't get a
canceled,
second.
or-
Yeah.
I feel like they could like pick it up and have
Exactly.
like a new group
That's
of
what we're
kids.
like, anybody, and you could do a different time, this location, because the idea is this happened in '89, and something happened to like the camp counselors her age when she was young. Something happened, so it's like, oh, let's go back a little bit further and do like the '60s when she was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely check that one out. I don't know where you can watch all of it, but it's all out. I mean, it was on Freeform, maybe Hulu or Amazon, something like that. But Dead of Summer.
Dead of Summer. Yeah, summer's right around the corner. Yeah.
Yes.
Right on. Ollie, do you have it? You got anything?
Mine this week is Unfriended.
Oh, that's right.
Have you guys
Yeah.
ever seen Unfriended?
No.
I have
not
not,
yet.
but I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
But basically, in a nutshell, it's about these kids who are all on like a Skype group call, and they end up getting like this mysterious anonymous guest who ends up like being like kind of pretending to be this girl who actually committed suicide because she was cyberbullied. So they're like, oh my gosh, is this really her? But they end up being like killed off one by one. And I think this like horror film, it's produced by Blumhouse, and I think it kind of speaks on, you know, bullying today, because that is so prevalent for sure in social media and just all over the internet. And I think you're not going to be killed over the internet, clearly, like, but there are consequences, you know, and you have to just don't bully. Bullying is so bad. But I think it's a lot of fun. You may not like it, but I think it's a really entertaining film. And the reason why this is like my film for the week is because the sequel to it, it's not like a direct sequel, but it's like a standalone sequel.
Dark web.
The dark web just dropped, and it looks really fun. It's not about cyberbullying. It's actually about the dark web, where you're kind of like, there's like illegal trading, the black market, and this new group of kids get into like some crazy shiz. So I'm excited.
Oh wait, you haven't. It's not out yet, right?
The sequel's not out yet, but it premiered at South by Southwest this year.
Got it.
And Unfriended was actually released in 2014, which is around that time of where like people were being more aware of like bullying.
Yeah.
And that's funny. And also the dark web is like a whole. There's actual stories, or like creepy.
good.
There's like creepy pastas out there about the dark web, about how people go into the dark web and like they will actually have people like hack into their computer. Well, there's stories. I don't know if they're true or not, but like there's been like really neat like stories that have come about like the dark web and like the mythos behind that and everything.
Yeah, and one last thing before we move on, I just really like this concept of kind of like this found footage on like Skyping, because it's even like we talked about it last week with searching with Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
Like this is this new format, and I like it. It sounds like it can get old, but I feel like you can do a lot with it. It's very versatile, just as long as you're doing like incorporating new things into the mix. I look forward to this, and searching as well.
When it comes out, look for a character named Kelly. I know that actress. Her name is Chelsea Alden. I was like, my friend's in that movie. We're in the same acting class together. And I was like, I'm pretty sure she posted about that. And that makes me think of, I still don't have any information on it, but the horror movie I worked on, Followed, is all like YouTube video footage.
Oh.
Kind of found footage style.
Oh, cool. Right on. Kind of like VHS in a sense.
Little bit, yeah. Like someone's watching the files, and when they have information when that's out, I'll let you all know.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I want to share.
I'm sure you'll let us know. All right. Now I'd like to take the time to have a little service announcement for our little our little podcast here. So pretty much, if you're wherever you are listening to us, rate us on that platform any way you can on wherever you're listening to us. But like, if you are listening to us on iTunes, please give us those 5 stars and rate and subscribe to our podcast, and you'll pretty much get new episodes updated every weekly into your phone, so you can just see it once we drop and upload them, which I believe is like around tomorrow midday, is when they go up. Yeah, so just like, you get some cool stuff. You'll hear us, and we really appreciate the feedback, and like it lets us know that, hey, keep doing this. Otherwise, like, why are we doing this?
Because we love horror.
I know we do love horror though. We just want people to hear our passion. Also, if you're listening and watching us on YouTube, please give us those thumbs up and leave a comment down below, because that's always awesome to see some action. I saw some comments last week, and I tried to reply to all of them. I believe I did. There was like 3 of them. Some guy was asking about what we thought about the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Looks so
I was
good.
just like, I flexed my forearms and I just started writing. I was like,
that's a whole nother show.
I know, right? Like that's something else, but like we are here for it.
I cannot wait. Next year.
And I finally started playing Resident Evil 7. I know. You let me borrow that like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I played for an hour and I was too stressed out and I had to turn it off.
But are you playing it with VR?
No, because I almost like puked.
You don't need it. Like
no, you don't need it.
But I'm just like, yeah.
I got like ask Steve. Like I got like the cold sweats. Like less than 10 minutes in, I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. If I keep playing.
Tony.
I know. I can't do it. I don't want to do that again.
You got to.
Yeah. Is there anyone in the live chat right now?
Yeah, we have Shiny311
Hey,
is in there,
because I'm shiny.
as well as Westy Kid, which has a comment
Westy
about the Nun
Kid.
trailer when we get to that.
Classic Westy Kid. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Nice to see your name again. All right, so let's get into some news now with our 30 minutes in. So first off, this dropped last week as well, I believe. It was Ewan McGregor cast for Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to Stephen King's book The Shining. So they're making
he's the adult version of the kid
of Danny Torrance. Yeah. So the book was released in 2013. So just now it's being made into a film. So yeah, he's gonna be playing the older version of Danny Torrance, which I think is great. I really like Ewan McGregor. He can really play that, like he has like that dark side of him. I think you can really see it in like it's like the dark torturous side of him. But like I just remember always thinking back to Trainspotting when he is, if you haven't seen that movie, it's a film about heroin and addiction, and his character is addicted to heroin and he tries to get off heroin, and like how he goes through the like that mentality of like trying to be it's just really unnerving to watch him struggle with like wanting to be on heroin but like also wanting to sober up. So it's cool. I like where this is going. And it's being directed by Mike Flanagan, which I think is great because he's done Gerald's Game, he's done Hush, and he's done Before I Wake and Oculus, which have all really been regarded as like really great horror films. And we have an official synopsis, which I found to be pretty interesting. So it goes, Dr. Sleep takes place years after the events at the Overlook Hotel and focuses on the now middle-aged Danny, who is still traumatized. He follows in his father's footsteps, has problems with anger management and alcoholism. He soon gives up drinking and settles in a small town in New Hampshire. While there, his psychic abilities start to pre-surface, and we develop a psychic link. Oh no, sorry, let me reread that. So his abilities start to resurface, and he develops a psychic link with a 12-year-old girl named Abra Stone, abracadabra, who he must save after he discovers her life is threatened by, which is, I thought this part was really interesting, a tribe of paranormals. And I'm like, interesting. Is it gonna be like some psychic like fighting, led by a man named Rose the Hat? Whoo!
This sounds
Also,
like
a
it,
weird
honestly.
name.
I mean,
Anime?
This
That
sounds
sounds like an anime.
no.
Okay.
It sounds like a crazy fan fiction. But like,
Yeah.
no disrespect to Mr. King, but like that's just what it sounded like in the synopsis. I'm
They're like,
sure
this is the weird stuff we all wanted to put in our stories.
I didn't
Right.
even know there was a sequel. He wrote a sequel to.
Yeah,
didn't know there was a
it just
sequel
came
either.
out like 4 years.
Interesting.
Wait, what? 2014?
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Interesting.
No, 2013. That's 5 years ago. Yeah, math. I don't know math.
okay.
But yeah, I think this is interesting because if it's a group of a tribe of paranormals, like what if they can make him see things in the real world? So it'd be like a lot of trippy imagery of him just trying to
What's real?
Yeah,
you
just
know?
trying him
Yeah.
to deter him off their track.
Yeah.
Of like saving this girl. So I mean, it could be fun. I'm down for it.
Sure. I like Ewan McGregor. I'd watch it.
Yeah, same. And also, I mean, The Shining, it's a Shining sequel, so it's like Shining is one of the Stanley Kubrick, it's one of the greatest horror films of all time as well, at least in my opinion, by one of the most amazing directors of any time, really. I highly regard Kubrick to be one of the best there ever was, really. But that's just me, go ahead and comment down below on that one. But yeah, so moving on to our next one, we actually got some pictures, y'all. I'm sorry for you podcast listeners, you're gonna miss out, but you can go look them up, just type in gold, so pretty gold suit for Predator. But yeah, pretty much there's more than one type of Predator in the new Shane Black's new Predator movie being released later this year. And they showed off one of them here at Cine Europe 2018 that took place in Barcelona recently. And yeah, if it's up, there's a picture, and it's a black and gold plated armor for the Predator.
Wow.
It looks pretty G, I would say. It's like the gold standard. Ayo, yeah, and we got a little quote that says, "This particular design is one of 3 different we know will be in the film." So there's
multiple?
2, exactly, right? There's also like a behemoth like Predator that we've seen.
Wow.
It's like he's larger than the
Well,
most
there's
of
a big
them.
one too.
Yeah,
Wow.
because they're already big as is, but there's like a bigger
Yeah.
one. So I'm like, oh, cool.
Wow.
So I just thought it was a fun little like pics and just like, oh, cool, new armor for the
Yeah.
Predator. And just don't forget, September 14th is when the new film will be released. All right, on to our next thing. Good old Brundlefly is in the news. If you guys don't, pretty much The Fly. Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. It was a remake of another, like the original was, I don't know, I'm guessing somewhere in the 50s. I believe it was in black. Yeah, if you can find that out.
Double check.
Yeah, it's definitely a remake, but it was directed by David Cronenberg. And I mean, you guys know The Fly, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't, go watch The Fly. But it's pretty great.
1958.
Yeah, so that was the original, and then if you can look up the most new.
Well, there was 1986, and there was a Fly 2 in '89.
Right, but let's not think about that one.
Nah.
Those sequels, they just get brushed under the rug. Like
2015.
what was that? No,
There's
so
one called The Fly in 2015.
yeah, so the one with Jeff Goldblum
Yeah,
was actually
86.
1986, and that was the one that was directed by David Cronenberg. And so in a phone interview promoting Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, Jeff Goldblum actually had this to say: "I don't think my character would be involved because, of course, I got tragically." He's talking again on The Fly. I got tragically mutated with the Fly and then the machine. Oh boy. But maybe I show up as a grandchild of the original Seth Brundle, or Seth Brundle had a brother that emerged in some ways. Who knows? I don't know. But if David Cronenberg but I know David Cronenberg was a thrill to work with. Boy, if he was involved, I'd like to work with him again. I'll tell you that. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So, I mean, because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, why don't you just remake The Fly, make another Fly movie, and I think people, because like people are like just eating that shit up with nostalgia and everything. People love nostalgia. They don't want they. I'm guessing people don't want to live in the times we are right now, and they want to live back to the time where they thought they were happy. So yeah, I mean, I would say bank on that, make it happen. Jeff Goldblum sounded like some weird reemergence of him. Mainly because of Jurassic World, which
people honestly won't shut up about Jeff Goldblum.
Honestly, like
no disrespect to him, but like
people
stop.
love him.
I know he's awesome,
like,
but like quit, stop. Like please stop.
I don't get it either.
You're making me not like him, but just not like his like
his repertoire film.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Like it's just like quit hyping me up. Stop it. Like I hate it when people do that just because it is a certain person. I don't know. It makes sense in my head, but
when I want an apartment, that's when he'll become relevant in my life again.
People, stop, please.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really seen that many films with him. I do know that he had The Fly. He had Jurassic Park. I'm not sure what else.
He's in like everything too. Like he's in Infinity. Well,
he's the Grandmaster. He's in the MCU. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't get it, but I don't really care.
He's becoming Jennifer Lawrence. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. I love Jennifer Lawrence too. But.
Shade.
I'm feeling shady today.
Whoa.
Anyways, moving on.
Drink your tea. All right, so we got some two bigger stories here. So first one that really, again, with that whole nostalgia train, choo-choo. Jordan Peele wants to make a Gargoyles film for the House de Mouse.
Yes.
So just a little,
gosh.
so he wants to make a film adaptation of the Gargoyles. So if you guys never heard about the Gargoyles before,
like Disney Gargoyles?
Yeah, the animated.
The
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so excited. Well, okay, because if they made Hellboy, it's a similar-ish body to like Goliath. That I'm like, yeah, it's just how you would get the wings to look good and not look stupid.
Right.
But like, if we could get someone to look good as Hellboy, I don't feel that's that far off to make somebody look like the different gargoyles
that they have.
Yeah, because none of them have like such a bizarre shape that it would be.
There are just some.
I really hope
ones,
it's practical.
No, that it'd have to be the only way.
Well, there's like
I don't know.
the dog. That
Unless they make it like an animated film, which I mean, I guess why not? But yeah, so the television series aired in between 94 to 97 and had 3 seasons.
They don't have all of them on DVD yet either.
It's centered on ancient gargoyles who became New York's nighttime protectors. And apparently there is some hesitation from Disney. I'm thinking it's possibly because they think it's too much of a risk. But also they don't want to turn on, like, why would you want to turn on, like, that's a pretty great idea. And it's one of those, like, series that kind of just gets swept under, like, people kind of forget about it. So it's mentioned, you're like, oh yeah, Gargoyles. I remember growing, like, very fuzzy memories of Gargoyles.
I just had that reaction when you mentioned it. I was like, wait, what?
I was born in 93. I'm sorry.
I have a Gargoyles t-shirt. I have season 1 and season 2, the first half, because they didn't release the second half of season 2.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, and also like, who would want to say no to Jordan Peele? Who would want to say no to Jordan Peele?
It's actually a very, like, intelligent show, too. It's a show, like, as a kid, it was one of the first shows that dealt with gun violence, too. Because, like, one of the Gargoyles has a gun, and one of the humans gets shot accidentally because he's, like, doesn't know what he's doing. And, like, they teach you about that. They also have Shakespeare, because they have a character that's essentially Puck, and so they've...
Oh, cool.
It's so good.
Yeah, I remember I would watch this with my grandma.
Oh.
And she loved this show. I was like so surprised when she told me, like, she was just like, oh, I really like this show.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like just by looking at it, you wouldn't guess that like it's so palatable, but it is.
Right.
But I do want that PG-13 rating if there's one.
So,
at least, yeah. No PG-13. It wouldn't be R. They never got that violent.
No.
But there's fighting, yeah.
I can imagine like the same vein as like Paranorman or like what was that other?
I think Hellboy. Right around that, like it's fantasy, magical realism. Like it is kind of grounded in the world.
Wasn't
real
Hellboy?
World.
Was that rated R or PG-13?
PG-13, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the first one. Yeah, because see, look at them.
Remember.
Most of them look like normalish people. The dogs.
Normalish people that got in the right.
I mean, like you could have
what?
a person in a suit.
No, yeah, I get you.
That I'd be like, oh, please make it.
Oh yeah,
real people
they're
in suits.
structured. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like
and
humanoids
not
in a sense.
Please don't
They're just
do
made
all
of stone,
CGI.
right? Yeah.
They turn to stone in the daytime.
In the daytime, yeah.
Yes.
Like the
and
Hunchback.
They technically can't fly. They glide.
It's not falling. It's
Yes.
not flying. It's falling
Yes.
with style.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's move on to so the Nun trailer drop. We're not going to show the trailer because it just doesn't work with the audio really. But let's talk about it though.
We do have a couple comments from the chat on The Nun. Westy Kid says the Nun teaser was disappointing. It
Hey.
said at the start, watch to the end, but nothing exciting happened.
You're
at
my
the
boy,
end.
because I feel the exact same way. I'm like,
And then
whack. W with a capital W. Sorry, keep going.
I don't know if this means they're excited, but Derek Hogan says the Nun actually comes out on my birthday. I'm always excited when a movie comes out on my birthday.
Happy Nun to you.
Yeah.
Happy Nun Day.
I felt it was fine. I did like there's a sequence where there's a scare that kind of doesn't come exactly how you think it. So I was
It's
like,
the ending.
okay.
The ending part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a letdown.
Nothing shocking, but I was like, oh, cool.
I just don't think
I'm
that this.
mediocre
I
at
don't
it.
think it was a character that deserved a spin-off. When did
I want to see the Crooked Man
Right,
spin-off.
dude. I'm more excited about the Crooked Man. Like if
He
if that's
was
gonna
freaky.
make happen.
None is just more.
Dude, that
weird.
was so freaky. Yeah, I am. Yeah. One highlight I am excited about is seeing Damien Bichette in this film. He looks like a central character along with Thaisa Farmiga. And so yeah, like I like that actor, so I'm gonna like see what's good, especially like he's Mexican, so like you gotta support. So that's really my only like driving force for like I'm like okay, I guess I'm into this. Like otherwise I'd be like. I'd still watch it, but I'd just be like the whole time. Really?
Matinee.
Yeah,
Also,
like not spend
I
too
feel
much.
like it's just gonna be like it's like an okay film. That's what I'm predicting. It's gonna be very
Yeah.
predictable, and I feel like we're getting too many origin stories. Like it's like this is like the origin to the origin. Like literally, they said it in the trailer. Like before Annabelle, before The Conjuring, this happened.
Well, it just takes
And I was
place.
just like,
It takes place before everything in that universe
Yeah.
universe that they set up.
but sometimes I just want to.
which is ridiculous
I want to
that we have
expand the universe like forward rather than backwards.
Yeah.
That'd
To things such as the Crooked Man that I'm
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
interested in and freaked out by. The Nun, not so much. The Nun had like a really cool part in The Conjuring. I forget two or three. Where like the painting.
There's three.
There's three.
Okay, I was like,
Conjurings?
No, I think
is
there's
there
only
two?
two Conjurings.
Okay, well,
yeah.
she was in The Conjuring
Second
too.
one.
Yeah, she was in the
pi-
second.
with the
Yeah.
picture, and that was creepy, but I didn't
Yes.
need an actual nun film,
Yeah.
personally.
I don't. Yeah, personally, me either.
Yeah, that even Annabelle I didn't love either. I liked Conjuring. The first one was great. I think the second one's almost better because you got more weird monsters essentially, or
Yeah.
supernatural monsters. Annabelle, there was some of it that was cool, but it was like, I didn't love it, and then that's why Nun. I'm like, But Crooked Man was scary in the movie.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
was
think the
so
Annabelle doll
creepy.
was that scary.
Yeah, I was okay with
Yeah.
those two movies. I was like, but nonetheless, I appreciate that they created this universe of horror movies. I'm just like, all right, I'm down
They're
for it.
still going strong.
Yeah.
We might be blown away. We might be eating our words when it
That's
comes
true.
out.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would like
I
to.
hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
Girl, please.
Yeah, make me eat it. Make me eat my one like that.
Well, Westy Kid in the chat says Conjuring 2 was a true story. Well,
I believe it was like
I'm putting air
there
quotes
was-
those listening. Well,
there was some-
documented information, and they're generally based on, inspired by, because some of it you can never really know.
Yeah, I remember there was some controversy about something. I can't remember. I don't know if it was for the rights or if it was like actual things because they were like de-hoaxed or whatever,
Yeah.
that they weren't actually like psychics. Or whatever. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that though.
Derek Hogan says the nun character is supposed to be the main antagonist of the Conjuring universe. Meh. I'm a little disappointed if that's true. And Westy Kid says she's definitely agrees that she's definitely scary. I don't know. I think she's creepy, but I
Her
wouldn't say
look
scary.
is scary.
Yeah.
Like if you look at her long enough, you'd be like, like you know,
Maybe
which is
it's-
kind of like what the trailer implies when
Yeah.
it's like that long shot of her, and then the lights turn off, and she gets even scarier, and you're like, oh, okay.
Maybe
Like it
for
creeps me out, sure, but like.
Yeah.
It doesn't get me like excited at like this next movie I'm gonna start talking
Yeah.
about, which I'm still excited about.
Take it away, please.
Do it.
So Hereditary, back at it again. I'm gonna keep beating this dead horse, and I'm gonna cut the. Never mind, I'm not gonna get into that. Was a little too visceral.
Girl, anywho.
Yeah. So apparently, in a way to switch up the marketing for Hereditary, A24 has decided to release a new trailer for Hereditary, which is interesting. So go ahead and roll that trailer. We're gonna talk a little bit over it, but this is, in my opinion, a really great move.
Why would I want to say something so I could watch you sneer at me?
Don't snare at you. Oh, honey, you don't.
Oh, sweetie, you don't have to. You get your point across.
I love it. So it actually exemplifies Toni Collette's performance, and there is no quotes of it saying that it's the most scariest movie ever, or saying that it's even scarier than Exorcist. It focuses more on her performance, which is really the crux of the film, because she is just so phenomenal in this movie.
And always so annoyed. Nobody admits anything they've done.
That's what I've been saying.
Her performance alone is worth watching the movie.
That would have been a much better marketing.
Yes, I know.
Much better with the tone of what it actually is.
I feel like they kind of did that well with her. They kind of
Sort of.
promoted her as like.
No, but again, they were like so scary,
But
and then it makes you think.
I feel like they did
type of horror.
I feel like they did that. They were like, yeah, it's the scariest film of all time. Oh, and also Toni Collette is like, this is like her.
No, it's
Yeah.
like, Toni Collette.
It was like a
terrifying.
Yeah,
in this
it was
movie.
a second. It was like the second thought.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's kind of how you said too, or how we talked about, is it's more of this about this family, which that's what the trailer's more about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is the movie's more about this family and how they're dysfunctional and falling apart.
Yeah, it's a family
which
drama first, and then
that
it's a
would've
horror
been-
movie second. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, go new marketing team.
Yep. And so last week we ran out of time. So with our time left, I don't know if we can get possibly more time. If not, it's fine. But yeah, so we're gonna get into Hereditary, and we're gonna go full on spoilers, because last week we didn't do any spoilers and we ran out of time. So we're gonna just go straight spoilers. If you guys have yet to see this movie, yeah.
Spoiler alert!
Why are you scared, bro? Why are you scared, bro?
Jump scare.
Oh, hell payment. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie, I guess tune out now. I mean,
It's been out for a few weeks.
Exactly.
Come on.
But yeah, just to do a quick, I checked the box office this previous Sunday, and it was at 27 million. And it was, I believe, the budget was 10 million. So it's
Go
still
them.
making money.
Making their money.
And it's still their best release for A24. Thank goodness, because I really love that studio. I love what's coming out from there. And
I always love little ones that they're not huge. Well, yeah, they're getting these smaller films out there, which is great.
yeah, like Get Out was
Yeah.
like one of them. Also, it comes at night was another
Yeah.
one.
I'm all for
Green
smaller
Room,
theaters.
which I personally
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I even tweeted about it earlier on our page. I'm starting to do that more. Like,
Do it, yeah.
I just love tweeting like random things. I also tweeted about Black Phillip and everything since I
Well,
saw
it is
The
a
Witch.
horror Twitter page, so yeah.
I know, so I can just unload.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting better at Twitter, guys. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so yeah, our review. So we're not gonna go over the characters. We already know the characters. I want to go into spoiler. I want to go into like first off highlights about the movie. What you think of it? I listed some. I can go down the list if you guys want me to. For me, some highlights were the overall sense of dread that the film establishes. Like right in the opening shot, you know something's amiss. You know that this is a tragedy. Like this film is like a tragic Greek play. Also, the anxiety that the film is able to induce early on, like especially after Charlie loses her head.
Yeah.
There's a gripping sense that I felt in the theater that was like within me that didn't like snap until almost the very end. Which I really appreciated that, and like I love that a movie could do that to me, like just like grab me and just be like the whole time I'm just like okay. And it doesn't rely on jump scares, although there are like about 2 jump scares,
Well,
and they're
fine.
still like elegantly played out in my opinion. And they filmed a film that's sole purpose is to really mess with people's minds, and it achieves it so well. Like I'm paraphrasing, but like Ari Aster said, I have so much darkness in me that I want other people to witness and feel as well. And I just thought that was so powerful. And he, like for me at least, or a lot of people and critics, like he achieved that, like that he's able to like to have you feel what he's been feeling throughout his whole life, and there's like this certain darkness. And I'm just like. It's so good.
Take a breath.
Yeah. What were some highlights for you guys?
Well, definitely the feeling of dread and the anxiety after like Charlie got killed, because she was going into anaphylactic shock after having the peanuts. And that's another example of like there's so many seeds that were planted for you.
That was a
looking
giant
back.
red flag, though. That
Like,
was
there was that. They showed the telephone pole. They showed the symbol.
That was good.
I would give you the
peanut
whole
one was
peanut
a
one.
little
Yeah,
obvious.
exactly.
Did you remember the EpiPen? No, do you have the EpiPen?
But,
like,
does
it
that
is-
have
it is-
peanuts? And
it
you're
is-
just like,
All right, first off, no,
I
that's
didn't
not
think-
how it goes down.
I didn't think that was that bad.
like, is there peanuts
Honestly,
in that? It was.
It's pretty.
As soon as she's at the party and they're cutting up
But
the
it-
nuts, I'm like, she's gonna eat it.
Yeah.
I didn't think
No,
about
I mean,
that. I really didn't think about. Maybe I'm just like a very like I don't know. Stupid.
I honestly didn't know what they were. I honestly didn't know what they were cutting up. When I first saw it, to be honest, no, because I wasn't I wasn't sure what it was. I was like, what is it? But Steven next to me, he goes like, it's peanuts, her allergy, and I'm like, got it.
Any kind of nuts. It could
be
walnuts,
Steven.
anything.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but like, let me come back to like, I say it's fair. Sure, I'll give you it's fair, but like, it's
the
still,
telephone pole one was a good one. Like that,
it's still
a surprise.
Not bad. Like how it plays out is like she sees someone touching her grandma's lips, and she finds that curious, and then she takes out the chocolate bar, and then she eats the chocolate bar, and then the father comes out, was like, hey, come here, like, does that have any nuts in it? And she's like, no. I was like, all right, cool. And then Toni Collette comes out like, does it have nuts? We don't have the EpiPen. It's like, no, it's cool.
Which means they're horrible parents that they go anywhere without an EpiPen if they have a child that's gonna die.
I honestly didn't think it was that bad, because I didn't think that her character Charlie was going to die in the film. The way that the film was like presented, like it didn't seem like the character of Charlie was gonna die. So I didn't think it was gonna be. Maybe she would have gone I can't even say it.
Anaphylactic
Maybe she
shock.
would have had an allergic reaction. But I really just going into the film, I wasn't expecting Millie Shapiro's character to die.
Right.
So that's why I don't have a problem with that particular like seed that was planted. But yeah, I remember in my experience in the theater watching it, when that scene happened, you felt the dread of the son's Peter, his
dread, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And like
it was silent in the theater when that happened, for me at least.
No, yeah, same. I mean, like I've seen it twice now, and it's like with that whole. The second time again, I saw it on a third. What was it, I forgot when it was, like 11:30 in the morning on a weekday, and I was like, I need to watch this movie, and I got out and I
want to watch it again too.
Dude, I want to watch it for a third time. One for Millie, one for Annie, one for the grandma. Pay my respects. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, like that close up of his face and like him going into shock, and him, you feel it, and you see it, him coming to the realization, and you feel his like, all right, there's nothing I can do. Yeah. And he just rides off, and then it cuts to the wide shot of the car that slowly just like he like slowly takes his brake off, his head, like his foot's like it's just like shaking, slowly taking his foot off the gas pedal. Like
it's like, what's gonna happen
heartbreaking,
next? Like,
dude.
How is he gonna get out of this?
Heartbreaking.
And then you just hear the screams of terror and horror from Tony.
The shot of him like falling, like the shot of his room that's open, and then how like it crosses off to his face, and like his like the windows on his forehead. I don't know. I just thought it was really beautiful looking. And I don't know if that means anything, as in like a look into a window into his head, as like what he's thinking, you know. But like he did not sleep that whole night. He was waiting for that moment to where she's found. And
then the grisly the shot of Charlie's like severed head.
During the screaming,
yeah.
That's something that people like were just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get that out of my head. I'm like, yeah, I agree. It's a really grisly. It's a very visceral scene, and it's well lit, and it just holds it up to your face, and he's just like, look at it. Like, there's nothing you can do to escape this. Look at it, and you're just like, oh god. And then she's like 13.
Yeah.
Like 13-year-old's head just right there on the floor being eaten by ants.
Crazy. Carrie's just silent.
Because I feel almost none of this. No, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, any iTunes listeners, I'm making lots of faces. The only part of dread I had was I did enjoy the beginning and like how they filmed that coming in.
Oh, with
the kind of slow in the house.
Yeah.
I wanted more with the dollhouses because I almost felt that was foreshadowing. I'm like, oh, can we get more with that? Which we don't. I did love the part. I knew something was going wrong when he was driving. I'm like, it just was like, oh, it's just gonna suck. I didn't like her at all, so I didn't really care. Okay, I don't.
Charlie?
I didn't care about her, so then I was like, I wasn't as devastated when she died, but it was like, oh, that sucks. Like just one of those like, oh.
Just like as a humanistic perspective,
anybody,
like, fuck, she lost her daughter. Like,
yeah,
that's
and then
crazy.
how he's in the car and like doesn't even want to look was great because it's like.
Like that whole like when he's like when you see like it's like a POV and he's slowly moves to
kind of like looking up in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, right.
He's like, no, what do I do? And there's nothing he can do.
Right.
And so going home, and I also felt dread once he lays down and waiting for his mom because you're just like, oh shit.
I know.
And then like her freaking out was great. Otherwise I didn't feel anything about it was super visceral or suspenseful. I felt this family, I just kind of was watching them. I didn't really care about them. I didn't feel it did enough to make me draw in. I felt bad for her because I'm like, oh, that sensation of like, you're telling the truth or your truth and nobody's really believing you and how frustrating that is. So I felt for her in that. And I think her acting was like, again, 120%, like over the top. It was in a good way. Like she was committed. So that was great. But
Yeah.
I didn't, but I like that other people feel that like, like how you're describing it. But I was just like,
yeah, the like what I keep running around in circles in my head is like, did I really care about this family or didn't I? Like, I'm not sure if I really care. Like, but I don't think it mattered if I cared or not, because like the way it's shot, it's just like you're an outsider. Really well. Like you're not. I don't think you're supposed to care about these people.
Yeah. Or well, in terms of if shit happens to them, you should kind of care, because otherwise, when it happens, you're like, oh darn.
But no, but like when it happens, it's well, I guess for me, it's just like you're just a witness to this horrific thing, and like even if it should appeal to like just your humanistic side of you, like if you have empathy and sympathy for like other human beings, just watching this go down in front of you is horrible. It's like it's literally a family that's slowly killing themselves.
I wanted the dad to take the son and leave.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, dude,
that was so that talk when they had that talk on the phone, like I have a son to take care of, like Annie,
and then that doesn't happen, and I was like, bummed with that. What was he? I will say I feel bad though that the son Peter, his crying was almost comedic.
Honestly, I loved his crying. It worked for me.
I'm like, ooh, like our audience started to laugh because it sounded. I mean, I get that he physically looked like upset, which was great, but the actual sound of it almost sounded comedic. And so you're like, okay, focus. He's being serious right now.
For me, it felt so real. It felt so, it's like hysterical.
It was like an ugly, hysterical cry. That's kind of how I took it.
It's like no shame, just like, fuck, like this is raw.
Snot
like,
coming out,
you know, like,
But
oh my god! And then when he screams when he gets his face bashed in was so
that
incredible.
Was good. That was really good.
Oh my! And then seeing like the other kids, like once it cuts back to like him behind and he's still screaming, even the kids are just like they're like not sure what to do.
Yeah.
Like that freaks me out. I was like, oh. Like,
Wesley Kid in the chat says, I always care for the people in horror movies. I want to care for them.
Yeah.
Or you need to root for somebody. Like in Don't Breathe, I cared more about that old man a little bit compared to the kids, because I'm like, oh, you kids are morons.
That's funny. I don't know.
No,
for me,
I didn't care for that old man. That old man was evil.
Until you learn all the other stuff he does. But I was like, these kids are so stupid.
For me, to be honest, like I've given that up. Like when I go into movies, I don't be like, all right, who's my hero? Who do I care? No, it's
you
just
have to.
Exactly, and that's like, for me, like I just gave that up a long time ago. That's why like I was able to see this so like objectively in a sense.
But if you don't care what happens to them. Like you should care about the people and what happens to them, because it has a greater effect on you. Because if you're like, I don't care about you. Oh, they died. Yeah, I don't really care. I didn't care about them.
But that's interesting that we're bringing this up, because like usually I don't hate it when everyone dies in horror films, but I still like really did love this movie. But I think what I love about this movie was not like a conglomeration of things. Like I love the acting, I love the story, I love the lore, and how like I love the dollhouse like metaphor of like this outside force. Like they're doomed basically because of the mom. And just how, you know, we had Charlie and Peter being just like trying to be like overtaken by the grandma. And the grandma got into Charlie. She got into, because Charlie was kind of like this vessel of Payman. And how Payman
Charlie is Payman,
yeah. And Payman was finally released. And like, it just like was crazy that I don't have a problem with everyone dying, because I just fell in love with just everything about the film.
I guess me too. Like I didn't really find myself caring like about these characters. I was just kind of like,
I feel
like
it
was more just like, let's see what
I cared about the characters, but I didn't care that they died.
Okay.
I mean,
well then, okay, question time. A couple things where I was like,
I wasn't just like, oh no, she died. I was just like, oh my god, she died.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, that like different value. Sorry.
Yeah. Why did the husband burn and not her?
Because he was not necessary for anything at all. Because he was not important to the overall.
So why kill him then?
Because that was the moment that it was needed to finally break Annie.
Okay.
And it was a red herring. It was for like the audience too. Like we thought Annie was gonna go up in flame.
She was ready to sacrifice
It's supposed to be this redemptive moment for her. She finally tells her for the first time in the film, "I love you. You're the love of my life. Do this for me. Throw that book in there, please. I need you to do it. I know you don't trust me. You don't believe me, but do this."
So if he had done it, would he been okay, or would it still?
No, he would have still gone up.
Okay.
He would have still gone up.
And then
because Annie is needed.
Does she do the head saw thing just to traumatize Peter so that he would do what he does?
On top of that, payment needed to be released from Annie's body so he could be transferred into Peter. Yeah.
So Charlie's head cut off made it released then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's like a symbolic thing where the heads have to roll, but like
the grandma's head's off too.
Exactly. I'm still like trying to wrap my head around that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't get that, but like it's also in a weird sense like a reversed what is it? The Holy Trinity. Sure. Because it's the grandma, the daughter,
mom.
and the granddaughter.
And the granddaughter. Yeah.
And then I don't know why their heads have to roll, but like yeah, I guess he likes having heads roll. But yeah, that was
I can buy it's a release. That's fine.
And that was like one of the last straws for Peter to like really just finally break.
Sure.
And then that's when he flies
if we
out.
need to make him go out the window.
Yeah, which I thought was great too, because like if you notice once he's on the ground, you see the shadow go wash over him and leave him, and that's two things. So that shadow is like symbolic of him leaving his soul leaving his body. On top of that, it's Annie's body, headless body, floating over him. And that's
not Annie, but
like the dead body of Annie though. Yeah, when she saw her, that's her head floating.
That's Heyman then.
No, I mean I know it's payment, but it's Annie's body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's controlling the body.
Oh yes, when she floats outside. Yes.
Exactly. So going up the things and everything. Yeah. And I was talking to a friend earlier, and she said that she found that part comedic, and I was just like, "That's interesting."
Our audience found it comedic too.
And I was like,
kind of.
It was because of the music and because of everything that we.
No, because it's so bizarre and out of nowhere that you're
no. Like think
also,
about...
when she crawled on the side of the wall, people laughed too.
Oh, that was fucking great. I don't know why that's funny, but no, like. It was the climax of the film at the very end. So like there's a lot of things hitting us right away at the very end, right? Until finally Peter gets out and drops. And then when he slowly looks, and I guess it is still silent, but in a sense it's a certain the film finally lets us breathe for a bit when he finally falls out of the and so people are just like, whew. And the next thing you know, there's like the headless bodies who are like, oh, ha, like, you know? That's why I could see, like, it's fair to say that's comedic because of how, like, gripped you were right before that. And then the film finds like, all right, now you can breathe. There you go. And I was just like, dang. And then the music, too, starts, and it's all very whimsical, but it's like a weird twisted whimsicality to it until he finally, like, goes up into, like, the treehouse. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you hear, like, the demonic choir, they're like, oh. Like, you know, like, I was just like, ah. Everything about it, I just love. Also, another little Easter egg, or not Easter, but a little thing that I didn't catch the first time. When it does she creates a model of the accident. Yeah. And she creates a little head, and she's like painting the head with blood and everything. And then it cuts back to that scene, that model later on in the film, and it's like it's like vertical. You see it like here's the thing, and then the shot's like going over it like this, and the head is missing. The girl's head is missing in that second shot. Which like symbolizes that they got the head and they put it on that like weird thing at the end. I was just like,
the altar.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Nice.
Was there anything confusing about the film for you guys? Other than the book would be like was a little confusing for me. Also, like the head sawing was a little confusing for me. Like I don't know why decapitation is so prominent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're confused. It's not like you're sitting there going, "I'm confused." You just don't see what the purpose was, so it's a little bit more like, "Why did we have that?" Mm-hmm. So I would say confusion is more like you're like, "I really don't understand what's going on," but it's more like the movie didn't explain it enough. So then you're like, "Okay." Oh,
that's funny. I had people say like they spoon fed us everything at the end of the film. I was just like,
I wanted the end to save it for me, and it didn't. So then I'm like, oh, that's
I think just watching it and kind of unpacking everything that you just watched and kind of like reading and researching everything, it makes a lot more sense. So I really don't have much confusion going off of the film. Mm-hmm. So I'm not like at all like mad or anything.
Yeah, I really loved like stitching the little like I don't know, the little like breadcrumbs left with like within the before and then leading up to like
going to Jones. Oh, looks like my mom made that or something.
Yeah, like
Jones was her friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Problem with that though, this is one of those the meta-ness of it. That lady plays Aunt Lydia in Handmaid's Tale and is a bad character. So I immediately was like, I don't trust you.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize.
Yeah,
that.
I was like, I'm not well versed in Andaudism, so but apparently she always plays like a secret cult leader or some shit.
I'm like, it's hard sometimes going into movies when they do cast someone who always plays a villain, and then you're like, well, they're gonna be the bad guy.
Even I had.
It's nice when they try not to do.
Even
that.
I was a little like, okay, there's something weird with her. Yeah,
she was nice.
Too nice.
And also, if you realize, also the people who were in that group were the people who were like the naked
people.
I was just like, just like straight up Rosemary's Baby style. Like,
See, that one I did really like.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a classic.
Yes. Well, now
and this is gonna be a classic. Try to quote me on that. Come at me. This is a freaking masterpiece of a film, and I love it. I'm
glad you feel that way.
I'm glad too. I'm so obsessed with this film.
It's so great when people do feel enthusiastic about a movie, for sure. It's just definitely one of those, like, if you don't feel that way out there, don't worry.
It's okay, yeah. It's okay. I'll do my best to try to convince you.
I'd rather be excited about a movie, or even love it or hate it. Because I was a little bit more like, meh. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to end it on this quote, which I think was great. And this comes from Brad Miska from Bloody Disgusting. And he goes, box office aside, this was like after the first week. Box office aside, the widespread reception of Hereditary represents a frustrating moment to be a horror fan, as it may be sending the wrong message to Hollywood. The cinema score, word of mouth, and potential drop at the box office in the weeks to come are going to allow studio executives to say to creatives, see, people don't want movies like Hereditary. And that's fucked up. They're all reactive, which is why the success of New Line Cinema's It's has ignited a new wave of big budget genre films, which is like horror. We can only pray that A24 doesn't get deterred and continues to support and take chances on special films like Hereditary, like The Witch, Green Room, and many others. And we can also only hope that other studios don't either. And I just think that's like a little glimpse of hope, just like...
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely rooting for those underdogs, smaller companies. I hope they keep making. I'm glad that it's definitely a film that's not like your regular Hollywood one, and so I applaud it for that. And I hope we get more films like in that sense of being creative and different.
Yeah, it's definitely like an anti-Hollywood film. I had a trailer for you guys, but we don't have time to show it. But definitely check it out. It's coming out this Friday on VOD. It's called Ghostland. So look up Ghostland on YouTube, because if you're live, you're already here. So just go check that out. It's only a couple minutes. But yeah, it's from the director of Martyrs, Pascal Languet. And yeah, check that out. And last but not least, fan shout out. Fan shout out to Derek Hogan, Katsune Kun, and Jay Silver. I replied to all your comments. Thank you so much for commenting after the fact that we're all done and stuff. And with that concludes our show, everybody. So, Ollie, put yourself over.
Hey guys, I'm Oliver Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Check me out on Thursdays on the After Show for Cloak and Dagger, and check me out on Sundays for RuPaul's Drag Race After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
Heyo.
And my name's Carrie Lane. You can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And in just a little bit, we'll be doing AfterBuzz anime reviews. We're talking Full Metal Alchemist. We're finishing off part 4. Oh my goodness, it's epic battles. Stay tuned.
One part to go.
This one's involved, and we have some other people too.
I'm in the booth, yeah.
You're still there.
Yeah, I'm still there, in spirit.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is... goodbye, everybody. My name is Anthony Becerra. You can find me everywhere at TonyB_, as well as please check out our Twitter page on Twitter. And that's, again, at HorrorNewsPTN. Next week, we got more news and horror stuff coming at you, so stick around. Why would you go away? Don't leave us. Bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.